Okay, so you know how everyone's always talking about making these huge, like, life-altering changes?
Right.
Well, today we're diving into something totally different.
Yeah.
It's all about the power of tiny improvements, those small but consistent actions that can actually lead to some pretty remarkable results. And it all comes from this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Have you heard of it?
Oh, absolutely. James Clear's work is amazing. It's all about understanding how habits really work and how we can leverage them to create lasting positive change.
Exactly. And we've been digging into his ideas along with some other really interesting research on habit formation. And honestly, it's been kind of mind-blowing. The stuff that seems so simple on the surface actually holds some pretty profound insights.
It really does.
Yeah.
And what struck me is how practical it all is.
Yeah.
It's not just theory, it's about giving you tangible strategies that you can actually use in your own life to build those good habits, and just as importantly, break free from the ones that are holding you back.
And that's exactly what we want to unpack today. We're going to extract those golden nuggets, those actionable takeaways that you can apply right away to start creating some real positive shifts in your life.
Love it.
And the best part is you don't have to wait for some magical moment of motivation or like completely overhaul your life overnight.
No, not at all.
It's all about those small, consistent steps.
Exactly.
So let's start with the core concept here. What's the big idea behind Atomic Habits?
Well, the fundamental principle is that significant change doesn't come from these massive Herculean efforts.
Right.
It actually comes from the compounding effect of tiny actions. Like imagine a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but with each rotation, it gathers more and more snow, becoming bigger and more powerful.
I like that.
Habits work the same way. Each small positive action builds on the last, creating this momentum that eventually leads to significant change.
So it's not about those drastic overnight transformations. It's about the consistency of those little wins.
You got it. And one of the things that James Clear highlights is this compelling statistic.
Oh yeah, tell me about that one.
So a 1% improvement each day compounds to being 37 times better by the end of the year.
Wow, 37 times better just from those tiny little improvements.
Exactly. It's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it?
It is, because we often get so caught up in seeking those huge dramatic results, right?
You do.
Like we want to see the change instantly.
Yeah, and that's where we often get tripped up. Because when we don't see those immediate results, we get discouraged and we give up.
Totally. It's like you start a new diet or exercise routine, and if you don't see a huge difference in the first week or two, you just throw in the towel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's where this idea of the plateau of latent potential becomes so important.
The plateau of latent potential. Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me.
So think of it like this. You're putting in the work, you're making those small improvements, but you're not seeing any visible results yet.
Right, it's like you're stuck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what's happening is that progress is still happening. It's just happening beneath the surface. It's like an iceberg. You only see the tip, but there's this massive amount of ice hidden below the waterline.
Ah, I see. So the real growth is happening even though we can't see it yet.
Precisely. And to illustrate this, James Clear uses this brilliant analogy of an ice cube melting.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Tell me about it.
So imagine an ice cube sitting on a table in a room where the temperature is slowly increasing.
Okay.
The temperature goes up degree by degree, 25, 26, 27.
Uh-huh.
But the ice cube looks exactly the same, right?
Right.
It's absorbing energy, but there's no visible change. Then boom,
What happens?
the temperature hits 32 degrees Fahrenheit and the ice cube melts almost instantly.
Oh, I get it. So it's not that the melting happens suddenly, it's that all that accumulated energy finally reached a tipping point.
Exactly. And habit formation works the same way.
Mhm.
You might be putting in the work those small improvements and not see immediate results, but that effort is accumulating, building towards a breakthrough.
That is such a good way to think about it because it reminds you to be patient and trust the process even when you're not seeing those instant results.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got this foundation of atomic habits. The idea that small, consistent changes can lead to big results.
Right.
But how do we actually put this into practice?
Well, that's where James Clear's 4 laws of behavior change come in.
The 4 laws.
Okay, I'm ready.
These are like practical frameworks for building good habits and breaking bad ones.
Awesome. Let's dive in.
So the first law is make it obvious.
Make it obvious.
This is all about understanding the power of cues, the things in our environment that trigger our habits.
Okay, so like what are some examples of that?
So let's say you want to make reading a regular habit. One thing you could do is leave a book on your pillow.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. Because it becomes this unavoidable visual cue right before you go to sleep. Or if you want to exercise more consistently, Lay out your workout clothes the night before.
You literally trip over them when you get out of bed. Exactly. It's about making the desired behavior the most obvious choice.
I love that. And it's funny because you don't even realize how much your surroundings are influencing your habits.
You really don't. There was this fascinating study where a workplace increased water consumption by 25% simply by making water bottles more visible.
Wow, just by making it more obvious.
Yep. No lectures, no incentives, just making it the easy option.
That's amazing. Okay, so make it obvious. Law number 1.
Check. What's next?
Law number 2, make it attractive.
All right. Make it attractive.
So how do we make those good habits more appealing? Because let's be honest, sometimes the things we know we should do aren't always the most fun.
True. But that's where we can get creative. This law taps into the idea that we're more likely to do things we enjoy.
Makes sense.
So one strategy is to link the habit you want to build with something you already love.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you love listening to podcasts, but you struggle to make time for exercise.
Yeah.
Well, why not only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you're working out?
Oh, I like that.
Right? It suddenly makes exercise way more appealing because it's associated with something you genuinely enjoy.
It's like you're tricking yourself into doing something good for you.
In a way, yes, but it's a positive form of manipulation.
I can get behind that. And there was another technique that I thought was super interesting. Temptation bundling.
Ah, yes. Temptation bundling. This one is clever. It's all about pairing an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say you love watching a certain TV show.
Yeah.
But you need to fold laundry.
Relatable.
With temptation bundling, you only allow yourself to watch that show while you're folding clothes.
Oh, so you're making the less desirable task more attractive by linking it to something you really want to do.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
I love that. Okay, moving on to law number 3. Make it easy.
Make it easy. This one sounds pretty straightforward, but it's all about reducing the friction associated with good habits.
Right, because the easier something is to do, the more likely you are to actually do it.
Exactly. Like, think about healthy eating. If you have prep meals ready to go in your fridge, it's way easier to make a healthy choice than if you have to cook something from scratch when you're already tired and hungry.
Oh, totally. Or even just removing unhealthy snacks from your house.
Yes, that eliminates the temptation altogether.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Precisely. And one of my favorite tools for making things easier is the 2-minute rule.
Oh, tell me about that one.
So the idea is to scale down your desired habit to a version that takes less than 2 minutes to complete.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I'm going to read for an hour tonight, you start with, I'm going to read 1 page.
Oh, I see. So it's not about necessarily stopping after 2 minutes. It's about making that initial step so easy that you can't say no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because once you've started, you're much more likely to keep going. It's all about overcoming that initial inertia.
That's so smart. Okay, so we've made it obvious, we've made it attractive, and we've made it easy.
What's left?
Law number 4, make it satisfying.
Make it satisfying. This is all about the power of positive reinforcement.
Right, because we're more likely to repeat behaviors that make us feel good.
Exactly. And while the ultimate rewards of good habits might be long-term, it's important to build in some immediate satisfaction to keep you motivated along the way.
So how do we do that?
Well, it can be as simple as acknowledging and celebrating those small wins. Did you stick to your workout plan for the week? Awesome. Take a moment to appreciate that accomplishment.
Oh, I like that. Just taking a moment to recognize your own progress.
Exactly. And habit trackers are really helpful for this too.
Oh yeah, tell me about those.
So habit trackers are basically visual representations of your progress, like a calendar where you mark off each day you complete your habit.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. They're really satisfying to use.
They are, because every time you check off a box or mark a day, it releases a little bit of dopamine, that feel-good hormone.
It's like a little reward for yourself.
Exactly. And it gives you this tangible evidence that you're moving in the right direction. Another fun technique is the paperclip method.
The paperclip method. Okay, I've never heard of this one.
It's so simple but effective. Let's say you have a specific task you want to complete each day.
Okay.
You start with a jar full of paper clips on one side of your desk and an empty jar on the other. Every time you complete the task, you move one paper clip from the full jar to the empty jar.
Oh, that's so visual. I love that.
It is. And it creates this sense of accomplishment as you see the paper clips accumulating in the second jar.
I'm going to try that one. Okay, so we've covered the 4 laws for building good habits.
We have. But what about breaking bad habits?
Ah, yes, those pesky bad habits that just won't seem to go away.
Well, the good news is that we can use those same 4 laws, but we just invert them.
Invert them? What do you mean?
So instead of making it obvious, we make it invisible. Instead of making it attractive, we make it unattractive, and so on.
Oh, I see. So it's like we're using those same principles, but flipping them around to discourage bad habits.
Exactly. So let's start with the first one. Instead of make it obvious, we have make it invisible.
Make it invisible.
The idea here is to remove the cues that trigger those bad habits from your environment.
So like if you're trying to reduce your social media use, you could delete the apps from your phone.
Exactly. Because if they're not readily available, you're less likely to mindlessly scroll.
Makes sense. What about the second law?
So instead of make it attractive, we have make it unattractive.
You said unattractive.
This is about consciously associating the bad habit with negative consequences.
So like if you're trying to quit smoking every time you have a craving, you could visualize the damage it's doing to your lungs.
Exactly. It's about shifting your perception of the habit from something pleasurable to something undesirable.
Okay, and what about the third law?
Instead of make it easy, we have make it difficult.
Make it difficult.
This is all about increasing the friction associated with the bad habit.
So like putting your cookies on the highest shelf in the pantry.
Exactly. Or freezing your credit card in a block of ice to prevent impulsive online shopping.
That's a good one.
Okay.
And the final law?
Instead of make it satisfying, we have make it unsatisfying.
Make it unsatisfying.
This often involves introducing an element of accountability, like having an accountability partner who you check in with regularly.
So if you slip up, you have to answer to someone else.
Exactly. And that could be a really powerful deterrent.
It's like having a built-in consequence.
Precisely.
Okay, so by inverting those 4 laws, we can create an environment that makes it much harder to fall back into those bad habits.
Absolutely.
Now, beyond those 4 laws, our sources also talked about something called identity-based habits.
Yes. This is a crucial aspect of lasting change. It's about shifting your focus from achieving specific outcomes to changing who you believe you are.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Explain that a little more.
So with goal-oriented thinking, the emphasis is on the desired end result. Like, I want to lose weight or I want to learn a new language.
Right.
But with identity-based thinking, the focus is on the kind of person you want to be.
So it's less about what you achieve and more about who you become in the process.
Exactly. So instead of just wanting to lose weight, you start to see yourself as a healthy person.
Oh, I see. So your actions become aligned with your identity.
Exactly. The book gave this great example of a non-smoker versus someone who's trying to quit smoking.
Okay.
A non-smoker doesn't even consider smoking because it's not part of their identity. But someone who's trying to quit might still struggle with those cravings because they haven't fully embraced that non-smoker identity.
That's a powerful distinction because it's not just about willpower. It's about aligning your actions with who you believe you are.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But as we wrap up, there's one more key insight that I think is worth emphasizing.
With that.
The power of compounding and the importance of the long-term perspective.
Yes. This is essential because it reminds us that those small, consistent actions, whether they're positive or negative, accumulate over time.
And they lead to significant results in the long run.
Precisely. It's like compound interest. Small deposits made consistently over time can grow into a substantial sum.
And there were some amazing real-world examples of this, like the story of British cycling.
Yes. British cycling is a fantastic case study. They implemented this strategy of focusing on making 1% improvements across all aspects of their team, from the aerodynamics of their bikes to the nutrition of their riders.
And it led to this incredible period of success with multiple Olympic gold medals.
Exactly. Because those small improvements compounded over time, creating this incredible momentum.
That's so inspiring. It really highlights the power of those atomic habits, those seemingly tiny changes that can lead to massive results.
It does. And it all comes back to understanding that it's not just about setting goals, it's about building systems, those daily habits that will inevitably lead you there.
So the key takeaway here is to focus on those small, consistent actions and trust that they will compound over time.
Exactly. And remember to keep that desired identity in mind, because that's what will ultimately fuel your motivation and keep you on track.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. It really makes you think about those little things we do every day and how they're either helping or hindering our progress.
It does. And it empowers you to take control of those tiny habits and shape your future self.
So for you, the listener, here's a final thought to ponder. Beyond the specific habits we've talked about today, how could deeply focusing on your desired identity on the core of who you truly want to become be the most powerful catalyst for change in any area of your life?
It's a powerful question to ask yourself.
It is, because it's not just about what you do, it's about who you are becoming in the process. Give that some thought, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.
See you then.